So, let me ask you something. What if the US dollar wasn't just, a piece of paper or a number on a screen? What if it could actually evolve? That's the wild idea we're diving into today, a concept called UUS dollar. Now, this isn't about replacing the dollar, but about imagining its next generation living counterpart. Let's see what that really means. To really wrap our heads around this, we have to start with a pretty out there question. I want you to forget about cash, forget crypto, forget everything you think you know about money for just a second. And just imagine, what if money wasn't an object at all? What if it was a living organism? Something that could grow, adapt, and maybe even think? Okay, so how do we even begin to unpack this new currency? Well, the best way to think about it is through genetics, like a family tree. We're going to look at the relationship between the good old US dollar and this new evolution, almost like a father and a son. So on one side, you've got the father, the US dollar we all use. Its core DNA, its main trait, is historical trust. It's stable, reliable, but it's pretty static. It doesn't really change. Then, on the other side, you have the son, USDS. It inherits that foundation of trust, but it's also independent and totally dynamic. It's not trying to overthrow its dad. It's here to build on that legacy and evolve. So you might be asking, how does this evolution actually work? Well, it happens through a few key genetic mutations, if you will. First, time itself actually adds value. So like a fine wine, the currency gets more valuable just based on its creation date. Second, it has this built-in truth detector, an algorithm that's constantly validating information in real time. Think of it like a super fast fact checker built into every single dollar. And the whole thing is powered by AI and quantum computing, which lets it think and adapt in ways the old dollar could only dream of. All right, if this new money is a living thing, then it's got to have a way to create its own energy, right? Just like a plant uses photosynthesis to get energy from the sun, in this new financial world, that essential process is called brain synthesis. I know, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but stick with me, it's actually a really cool idea. And here's the absolute key to all of this. Brain synthesis is the engine that makes US dollars go. It takes raw ingredients, things like data from the internet and real-world assets, and uses this powerful mix of human and artificial intelligence to mash them together and turn them into actual usable value. Remember learning about photosynthesis back in school? It takes sunlight and soil and turns it into energy for plants to live? Well, brain synthesis is basically the digital version of that. It takes data and physical assets as its inputs, and it transforms them into liquidity, which is really the energy that fuels our entire economy. So, what are the raw ingredients for this whole process? What does it feed on? Well, it's three main things. First up is humanity dynamics. That's basically the collective social pulse of the planet, our moods, our ideas, our trends. Then there's internet pulsation, the non-stop rhythmic flow of information online. And finally, you have AI increments, which is the smart tech that sifts through all that noise to find what's actually valuable. Now, this is super important. This is not some cryptocurrency just created out of thin air. US dollars is deeply rooted in the real world. We're talking physical assets like museums, libraries, even people's homes. So its roots are firmly planted in reality, while its branches reach way up into the digital sky. And that means the value it creates is always connected to something real and tangible. Okay, so we've got how this currency creates value, but how does it actually plug into the economy we live in right now? I mean, you can't just flip a switch, right? The concept for this is something called osmotic walls, and they're designed to perfectly balance the physical and the digital financial worlds. I want you to think of it like the wall of a biological cell. These osmotic walls act like a smart filter between the traditional economy and this new digital one. They let value and money flow seamlessly back and forth between them. And here's the truly mind-bending part. This whole system is designed to balance the economy automatically, without any humans needing to intervene. It just does it. And all of this brings us right back to where we started. Through its family tree, through its life-giving process of brain synthesis, and through its ability to self-balance with the real world, money goes through this final, really profound transformation. And this one quote, man, it just says it all. Money ceases to be a dead paper and becomes a living organism. It's not just this lifeless tool we pass around anymore. It becomes a living, breathing part of our world, totally connected to the pulse of society itself. Which leads us to one final, huge question. If our money truly becomes alive, if it's intelligent, if it's adaptive, and if it's interconnected with everything, how does that change, well,
everything. What would that world even look like?